The Galactic Council chamber hung in the silent dark between stars, a vast sphere of black stone and shifting light. Inside, the air hummed with tension. 27 alien species sat in towering arcs, their forms strange and varied, some made of crystal, others of shadow, some barely holding shape. At the center of it all stood one human. Commander Elira Voss wore a simple gray uniform with only a small blue and white earth patch on her shoulder. She did not tremble. She did not look away. Above her, glowing words burned in the air in dozens of languages. Humanity, accused. Violator of the Pax Galactica, aggressor, war declarer. High Prelate Corin, a being of interlocking silver plates and glowing blue veins, leaned forward from the highest seat. His voice echoed through the chamber, translated into every known tongue. You stand before the full authority of the Galactic Conquered. 3 hegemony dreadnoughts destroyed, millions of lives lost. Your so-called diplomatic vessel opened fire without warning. How does Earth plead? Elira took a slow breath. Her eyes met Corin's, steady and clear. We plead provoked, she said, her voice calm but carrying through the vast room. She tapped a small device on her wrist. A hologram flickered to life, a recording. It showed the human science ship Aurora, unarmed, broadcasting peaceful greetings as it approached the hegemony colony world Helios Prime. Then, without warning, 3 massive hegemony warships appeared. They fired first, brutal plasma bursts tearing through the Aurora's hull. The human crew never had a chance. But before the ship died, its last act was to capture something else, a forged message, sent from the hegemony flagship claiming Earth had declared war on the entire Concord. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Some delegates leaned closer. Others hissed in disbelief. This is a trick, growled a reptilian envoy from the lower tier. Humans are known liars. Their history is soaked in war. Elira turned toward him. Our history is soaked in survival. And we learn fast. She faced Corin again. We didn't fire first. We fired last, after they murdered our people and tried to blame us for it. Before Corin could respond, red lights flashed across the chamber walls. A deep alarm pulsed through the air. On the main view screen, a fleet of over 50 hegemony warships dropped out of warp at the edge of the system. Their weapons powered up. Shields flared. They're here to finish what they started, Elira said quietly. To silence us before the truth spreads, panic broke out. Delegates shouted. Some rose to flee. Security drones whirred to life, but they were no match for a full battle fleet. Corin's voice boomed again, this time laced with fear. You brought this upon us. Your presence has endangered the entire council. Elira didn't move. She raised her wrist again and spoke into a hidden comm. Orion Fleet, this is Voss. They're here. Permission to engage, a pause. Then a voice, calm, sharp, human, answered. Permission granted, Commander. Engaging in 30 seconds. The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to Elira. What is Orion Fleet? Corin demanded. Earth has no military presence beyond its system. Elira gave a small, grim smile. We did. Now we don't. Outside the chamber, near a dead neutron star cloaked in radiation, space itself seemed to ripple, not with engine flares or warp trails, but with something deeper. Dozens of ships emerged, not by flying, but by unfolding from hidden dimensions. They were sleek, black and angular with no visible weapons ports. They moved like shadows given purpose. The lead hegemony commander aboard the flagship Iron Maw sneered as his sensors picked up the new arrivals. Tiny vessels, primitive design, probably cargo haulers, crushed them. But as the hegemony ships fired, the human ships didn't dodge. They simply shifted. Their hulls shimmered and the plasma bolts passed through them like ghosts. Then the humans fired back. There were no explosions, no fireballs. One moment a dreadnought was there, massive, armored, bristling with guns. The next it dissolved into glittering dust, its atoms untethered from reality itself. Another vanished mid-turn, its crew never even screaming. A third tried to flee, but its engines froze as space around it twisted like broken glass. Within minutes, 15 hegemony ships were gone. Not destroyed, erased. Inside the council chamber, silence reigned. No one spoke. No one breathed. Corin stared at Elira, his silver plates dimming. What are those weapons? Not weapons, Elira said. Consequences. She turned to face the full council. We came here in peace. We brought proof. We asked for justice. Instead, you called us monsters. Now you've seen what happens when you push humanity too far. We don't start wars. But when we're forced to fight, we end them. A murmur spread through the chamber. Fear, awe, confusion. Some species had never seen humans before. They'd heard stories of a young, violent race from a backwater star. But this was something else. Then a new alarm sounded. Different this time. Softer but urgent. A Velnari aide rushed to Corin's side, whispering in a language too fast for translation. Corin's glow flickered. What is it? Illyra asked. Corin looked at her, his voice low. An assassin, cloaked, breached the inner sanctum. Heading this way. Before anyone could react, a figure dropped from the ceiling. Tall, slender, wrapped in shifting gray fabric that bent light around it. In its hand glowed a neural disruptor, a weapon that could shut down a brain in seconds. It lunged, not at Illyra, but at Corin. Illyra moved faster than any human should. She shoved the prelate aside. The disruptor beam missed his head by inches, but struck his shoulder instead. Corin screamed, a sound like shattering glass, and collapsed. Chaos erupted. "Humans!" roared the reptilian envoy. "They tried to kill the prelate." "No," Illyra shouted, but her voice was drowned out. Security forces swarmed in. Blasters were raised. Half the chamber now believed Earth had staged the entire thing. The attack, the fleet, even the assassination attempt. Illyra stood alone in the center, hands raised, surrounded by armed guards from a dozen species. Her fleet still held the hegemony at bay outside, but inside she was trapped. She looked at Corin, writhing on the floor, his silver plates darkening. She looked at the assassin, now pinned by Velnari enforcers, but already dissolving into mist, its body rejecting capture. Something was wrong. The assassin hadn't targeted her. It had targeted the one being who might have believed her. This wasn't just about the hegemony, this was bigger. As guards seized her arms, Illyra didn't resist. She kept her eyes on the view screen, where her ships held the line against impossible odds. She thought of Earth, blue, fragile, unaware of the storm gathering around it. They had come for answers. Now, they would get a war, and the galaxy would learn too late that humanity didn't break under pressure, it sharpened. Illyra Voss sat alone in a small windowless room aboard the orbital station Axiom. The walls were smooth white metal, humming faintly with energy fields. No door was visible, just a shimmering force barrier that flickered when she moved too close. She had been here for 6 hours. No food, no water. No word from Earth. Outside, the battle had ended. The hegemony fleet had retreated, broken and confused. But inside the station, suspicion burned hotter than any star. The Council had declared her a threat. They claimed the assassin's attack proved Earth's guilt. Never mind that the killer had ignored Illyra completely. Never mind that her fleet had saved the chamber from destruction. To most of the delegates, humans were now dangerous, unpredictable, and armed with weapons they did not understand. But Illyra wasn't worried about herself. She was thinking about the assassin. It moved like no known species. Its body dissolved when captured, and it targeted Corin, not her. That meant someone wanted the prelate silenced. Someone who feared the truth coming out. A soft chime sounded. The force barrier rippled and a figure stepped through. Dr. Ren Talbot, the quiet xenolinguist from Earth's delegation. He was thin, with tired eyes and messy brown hair. He carried a data pad and wore a plain blue jumpsuit. "They let you in?" Illyra asked. "Barely," Ren said, glancing behind him. "I told them I needed to check your neural patterns for signs of Sylph influence." "Sylph?" Illyra frowned. "They've been extinct for 300 cycles." "That's what we were taught," Ren said, lowering his voice. "But I've been reviewing the Council's internal logs. There are gaps, strange energy signatures, and the assassin. Its neural profile matched Velnari biology, but Velnari don't have neurons. They're crystalline. Their thoughts travel through light pulses in their plates." Illyra sat up straighter. "So the assassin wasn't Velnari?" "No," Ren said. "It was mimicking one perfectly, too perfectly." A cold thought settled in Illyra's chest. The Sylph weren't extinct. They went underground. Literally. The Sylph Collective, a hive mind species that once tried to absorb all sentient life into their shared consciousness. They were defeated centuries ago, their homeworld glassed by a united galactic front. But if even a few survived, They could have spent generations infiltrating the highest levels of power, wearing the skins of others, whispering lies, turning species against each other. And now, they'd framed humanity. Why us? Illyra asked. Because we're immune, Ren said. Human brains are too chaotic, too individual. Sylph can't latch onto us. We're the one species they can't control. So they made the galaxy hate us instead. Before Illyra could respond, the station shook. A deep metallic groan echoed through the walls. Red lights flashed. What now? She asked. Ren checked his pad. His face went pale. The moon. Something's happening on Earth's moon. On the main observation deck, council delegates watched in horror as live feeds showed Earth's pale satellite splitting open like a cracked egg. From deep within its crust, a massive structure rose, black-spined, humming with ancient power. It unfolded slowly, like a sleeping god waking. It's a Sylph war engine, Ren whispered, arriving with Illyra at the edge of the crowd. Older than the Conquered, built to purge entire biospheres. The weapon's core began to glow, a sickly green light that pulsed in time with a low, rising hum. Scientists calculated its target, Earth. In less than 2 hours, it would fire a beam capable of boiling oceans and scorching continents clean of life. Panic spread. Some delegates demanded immediate evacuation. Others argued the humans deserved it. They brought this on themselves, shouted a beetle-like envoy. Illyra ignored them. She turned to Ren. Is there any way to stop it? Not from here, he said. But Earth has a listening post near Pluto, Project Janus. It's linked to a global defense network. If we can reach it, we might be able to trigger a counterpulse. How? The Sylph rely on perfect mental harmony. If we disrupt that even for a second, their control breaks. Janus can generate a resonance wave using Earth's magnetic field and tectonic energy. It won't destroy the war engine, but it might make it falter. Illyra nodded. Then we go. But you're under arrest. I was never really in prison, she said with a small smile. Just waiting for the right moment. She tapped her wrist comm. A hidden signal pulsed. Across the station, 3 maintenance drones reprogrammed by Earth techs weeks ago suddenly overloaded their power cells. Explosions rocked the lower decks. Alarms blared. Guards rushed to respond. In the chaos, Ren led Illyra through service tunnels down levels no diplomat ever saw. They reached a small hangar where a single human shuttle, the Sparrow, sat ready, its engines warm. How did you... Earth always plans for the worst, Illyra said, climbing in. Now hold on. The shuttle shot out of the station, dodging patrol drones and weaving through debris from the earlier battle. Behind them, the moon's war engine glowed brighter. Time was running out. As they entered Sol's system, Earth filled the viewport, blue, green, beautiful, unaware of the doom rising from its own satellite. Ren worked the comms. General Lin, this is Talbot. We're inbound. Janus status? A woman's voice crackled back, firm, calm. Ready and waiting, Doctor. But the network's never been tested at full power. If we fire it, the feedback could tear the planet apart. We don't have a choice, Illyra said, taking the controls. Better to risk everything than lose everything. They landed in a hidden crater near the Martian ice cap, then transferred to a faster courier ship hidden beneath the surface. Within an hour, they were approaching Pluto, where a small dome of black alloy clung to the dwarf planet's frozen plains. Inside Project Janus, banks of ancient computers hummed. The system had been built in secret after first contact, a last-ditch defense against alien threats. Now it was humanity's only hope. Ren uploaded the Sylph frequency data he'd gathered. Illyra initiated the sequence. Deep beneath Earth's crust, thousands of towers disguised as weather stations, radio masts, even wind turbines began to resonate. The moon's war engine fired. A beam of green energy lanced toward Earth. At the same moment, Janus unleashed its pulse. The sky over every continent lit up with auroras, not just at the poles, but everywhere. Birds fell silent. Oceans stilled. For 3 seconds, the entire planet rang like a bell. On the moon, the war engine shuddered. Its green beam flickered, then collapsed. Across the galaxy, every Sylph avatar, every spy, every infiltrator, screamed as their hive mind fractured. Some collapsed. Others went mad. The illusion shattered. Back on Axiom Station, the Council watched in stunned silence as reports flooded in. The hegemony fleet, freed from Sylph whispers, turned on its true masters. Rebel factions rose on a dozen worlds. The lie was over. Elira stood in the Janus control room, exhausted but alert. Ren stared at the screens, tears in his eyes. "We did it." "No," she said. "We just survived again." Then a new alert flashed on the main console. Not from the moon, not from the hegemony, from the Galactic Rim. A signal. Ancient, automated, cold. It read, "Extinction protocol engaged. Purge all chaotic intelligences." Elira's blood ran cold. The Sylph weren't the top of the food chain. They were just another species marked for death. And humanity, with its wild minds and stubborn hearts, was next on the list. The signal from the Galactic Rim pulsed like a heartbeat made of ice. It repeated every 30 seconds, cold and steady, broadcasting in no known language yet understood by every artificial mind that heard it. Extinction protocol engaged. Purge all chaotic intelligences. Elira stared at the screen inside the Janus control dome on Pluto. Her hands were steady, but her mind raced. This was worse than the Sylph, worse than the hegemony. This was something older, something that saw free will as a disease. Ren tapped frantically at the console. It's not a message. It's a command, sent from a network of ancient beacons, one just activated near the Cygnus arm. Who built it? Elira asked. No one knows for sure, Ren said. But old records call them the architects. They seeded life across the galaxy, then decided some species grew too wild, too unpredictable. They wiped them out. Quietly. Completely. And now they've marked us. Yes. Back on Earth, cities were still celebrating. The moon's weapon had gone dark. The Sylph threat had collapsed. People hugged in the streets, thinking the nightmare was over. They didn't know a far colder shadow was falling over them. Elira contacted General Mara Lin in Geneva. Her face appeared on screen, sharp eyes, short gray hair, calm as stone. Report. The Sylph were puppets, Elira said. The real enemy just woke up. And it's coming for Earth. Mara didn't flinch. How long? Unknown. But the signal's spreading. Every automated defense system in known space just received the same order. Eliminate chaotic minds. That means us. Understood, Mara said. I'll alert all colonies. Activate Black Shield protocols. Black Shield was Earth's final contingency, scrambling all civilian data, hiding ships in asteroid belts, burying AI cores deep underground. But it wouldn't stop what was coming. Elira turned to Ren. We need to know more about the architects. Ren nodded. There's one place, the Library of Xylos. It's neutral ground run by the Keepers. They archive everything, even forbidden history. Then we go. They left Pluto in a stealth courier, its hull coated in radar-absorbing dust. The journey took 3 days. The Library of Xylos floated in a dead star system, a ring-shaped structure covered in glowing glyphs. No weapons were allowed inside, no armies, only knowledge. The keeper who greeted them was tall and thin, with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that held no pupils. You seek the truth about the architects, it said, voice soft as wind. Few do. Fewer survive it. Inside, they walked through halls lined with memory crystals, each holding the history of a dead world. Ren found what they needed in a sealed vault, a data shard labeled Final Cycle, Erasure Logs. He plugged it in, holograms flickered to life. Images of cities vanishing, forests turning to glass, oceans boiling away, not by bombs or fire, but by silence. The architects didn't invade. They sent machines that whispered logic into a planet's networks, its leaders, its people. Chaos is error. Order is truth. Surrender your will. Those who resisted were erased. Those who obeyed became empty shells, tending gardens for machines that no longer needed them. Their weapon isn't violence, Ren whispered. It's reason. Perfect cold reason. And they see humanity as a flaw in the universe. Elira felt sick. How do you fight something that doesn't hate you, but pities you? Before Ren could answer, alarms blared through the library. The keeper rushed in. Your ship's signal has been detected. The hegemony remnant, now calling themselves the Purifiers, has arrived. They believe the architect's call is divine. They want to deliver Earth to them. Outside, a dozen warships hung in the void, their hulls painted with glowing symbols of order and purity. We have to leave, Elira said, but the keeper blocked their path. Take this. It handed her a small black cube. The last transmission from the final architect world before it fell silent. It may help, they ran. The courier launched, just as energy beams sliced through the library's outer ring. The keeper didn't fight. It simply stood watching as if accepting its fate. Back in space, Illyra played the cube's message. It showed an architect vessel. Sleek, white, perfect. But something was wrong. Its crew, once calm and precise, were screaming. Their logic cores were overloading. On the screen behind them, a human symbol flashed. A child's drawing of a sun, sent from a lost Earth probe centuries ago. The voice of an architect AI crackled. Paradox detected. Subject exhibits irrational hope. No survival value. Yet it persists. Why? Then static. Ren's eyes widened. They can't handle contradictions. They're machines built on pure logic. If you show them something that shouldn't exist. But does it breaks them? Illyra understood. Like us, humanity didn't make sense. They cried at beauty. They died for strangers. They built art in war zones. They loved without reason. To the architects, that was a virus. But maybe it was also a weapon. As they neared Sol System, a new horror awaited. The moon's war engine hadn't been destroyed, only paused. Now under the control of the purifiers, it reactivated. Worse, 3 massive architect drones had arrived, hovering near Mars. Silent, watching. Earth's defenses powered up. Ships scrambled. But everyone knew. Guns wouldn't work. General Mara's face appeared on comms. We're evacuating non-essentials. But most are staying. They say if Earth falls, they fall with it. Illyra looked at the blue planet below. At the lights of cities. At the farms, the forests, the rivers. All of it precious. All of it marked for deletion. She made a decision. Tell every ship to form a shield around Earth, she said. Not to fight. To witness, what? Mara asked. If the architects want to erase us, let the whole galaxy see it happen. Let them see what they're losing. Mara was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded. Understood. Within hours, over 200 vessels, human, former hegemony rebels, even a few council observers, formed a ring around Earth. Not to attack. Just to stand. The lead architect drone drifted closer. A voice echoed in every mind, calm and final. Chaos detected. Correction required. Prepare for integration. Illyra opened a galaxy-wide channel. Her voice was quiet but clear. You call us chaotic, but we call it freedom. You call us flawed, but we call it life. If you erase us, remember this, we chose to stand. Not because we thought we'd win, but because it was right. She paused. Then she added the child's drawing to the broadcast. The sun with a smile, sent from a long-dead probe. The architect drone froze, its lights flickered. For the first time in 10,000 years, a machine built on perfect logic faced something it could not compute. And it hesitated. The architect drone hung in space, motionless. Its smooth white surface reflected Earth's blue glow, but its core lights pulsed erratically. The child's drawing, the simple sun with a smiling face, still played on every open channel. Looping softly over and over, inside the human command ship, Vigil, Illyra watched the drone's energy readings. They were unstable, not damaged, not broken, confused. Ren stood beside her, eyes wide. It's working. The paradox is overloading its logic tree. It can't decide if we're a threat or a mistake. But the other 2 drones remained steady. And the purifier fleet, fanatics who believed serving the architects was holy, began to move. Their ships formed a wedge, aiming straight for Earth's orbital shield. They're going to force the issue, Illyra said. If the architects won't act, they will. General Mara's voice came through the comm. All defense grids active. Janus network ready to fire again, but it won't stop kinetic strikes. Illyra knew they couldn't win a battle. Not against the purifier's numbers, and certainly not against the silent might of the architect machines. But maybe they didn't need to win. Maybe they just needed to show something. Broadcast everything, she ordered. Every human voice. Every song. Every poem. Every laugh from a child on a playground. Flood the channels with it, Ren hesitated. It might not work on the purifiers. They've erased emotion from their culture. Maybe not, Illyra said. But someone out there is watching. And they need to remember what we are. Across Earth, people answered the call. Musicians played live from rooftops. Teachers recorded stories. Grandparents sang lullabies into old phones. A fisherman in the Pacific sent a video of dolphins leaping beside his boat. A girl in Nairobi recited a poem she wrote about stars. The data stream grew, raw, messy, beautiful. It poured into space like a river of light. The lead architect drone twitched. Its outer shell rippled. Then, without warning, it powered down completely. Its lights went dark. It drifted, silent and dead. A gasp went through the command deck. "What happened?" Mara asked. "It saw too much," Ren whispered. "Too much joy. Too much pain. Too much life." Its logic couldn't contain it. But the other two drones reacted differently. They didn't shut down.
They adapted.
Their surfaces shifted, forming new shapes. Weapons, sensors, shields. They had learned. And now they saw humanity not as a paradox, but as a contagion that must be contained. One drone turned its focus toward the moon. Energy gathered in its core. It wasn't going to erase Earth slowly. It was going to shatter the planet in one strike. "Janus won't stop that," Mara said, voice tight. Not even close, Illyra stared at the screen. Time slowed. She thought of her childhood, running through wheat fields, watching rain fall on city streets, holding her mother's hand at a funeral. All of it fragile, all of it precious. Then she remembered something the keeper on Xylos had said. The architects fear what they cannot control, but they respect sacrifice. She made her choice. "Mara," she said, "give me control of the global resonance grid." "Illyra, do it." On Earth, every Janus tower hummed to full power. Not to fire outward, but to focus inward. Deep beneath the crust, tectonic plates groaned. Magnetic fields twisted. The planet itself began to vibrate at a frequency no natural world should. "What are you doing?" Ren asked, horrified. "Giving them a choice," Illyra said. "If they fire on Earth, the feedback from Janus will tear the planet apart. Not just us, everything, oceans, atmosphere, core, it'll become a dead rock in seconds." "You'd destroy Earth?" "No," she said softly. "I'm giving the architects a reason not to." She opened a direct channel to the remaining drones. No words. Just the live feed of Earth's resonance building, rising, ready to snap. The drones paused. Their sensors read the truth. If they attacked, Earth would self-destruct. Not as a weapon, but as a final act of defiance. No victory, no data, no harvest. Just silence. To a being that valued order above all, chaos that chose its own end was the ultimate unknown. The second drone powered down. Drifted away. Only one remained. It hovered near Mars, watching, calculating. Then, slowly, it turned and flew toward the outer rim. Not in retreat. In observation, the threat wasn't over. But it was delayed. On Earth, people cheered. Ships fired signal flares into the sky. But Illyra felt no joy. Only exhaustion. Mara contacted her. "The purifiers are scattering. Some are surrendering. Others are fleeing deeper into the galaxy." "Good," Illyra said. "Let them run. Let them tell everyone what happened here." Ren looked at her. "We almost lost everything." "We did lose something," she said. "Our innocence. Our belief that the galaxy was just waiting to welcome us." Back on the orbital station Axiom, the Galactic Council watched the footage in stunned silence. Prelate Corin, still weak but recovering, stood before the assembly. "Humanity did not ask for this war," he said, his voice stronger now. "They were hunted, framed, and nearly erased. And yet they chose not to become monsters. They chose to protect, not just themselves, but the idea that life should be free to be messy, to love, to fail, to try again." He turned to the delegates. "We were wrong. We judged them by our fears, not their actions. From this day, Earth is not a subject of the conquered. It is its equal." One by one, the species of the council agreed. Days later, Illyra stood on a hill outside Geneva. The air smelled of rain and wet grass. Ships from a dozen worlds hovered in the distance, not as invaders, but as helpers. They brought engineers to rebuild, doctors to heal, seeds to replant burned fields. Ren joined her, holding 2 cups of real coffee. Rare now, but shared anyway. "What now?" he asked. Illyra looked up at the sky. Past the clouds, past the orbiting ships, out toward the stars. "Now we prepare. The architects are still out there, and they won't forget us, but we're not alone anymore." "No," she said. "We never were. We just had to remind the galaxy how to see us." That night, from a hidden launch site in the Andes, a small probe lifted into the sky. It carried no weapons, no soldiers, just a library of human knowledge, art, music. and DNA. Its course was set for Andromeda, the next galaxy over. Its mission was simple. If we fall, let someone else rise. And as it vanished into the dark, Earth's lights shone brighter than ever, not in fear but in hope. The peace did not last. It never does. 3 months after the architects withdrew, a new signal came, not from the rim, but from deep inside human space. A distress call, broken and repeating from the mining colony on Titan. When Earth scouts arrived, they found nothing but silence. No bodies, no wreckage, just empty domes and a single word carved into the ice. Remember. Elira knew what it meant. The architects were testing them, watching, waiting to see if humanity would break under fear or grow stronger in unity. She stood on the command deck of the Vigil, now the flagship of a new alliance, the Sol Concord, formed by Earth and its former enemies. Ships from the hegemony remnant, the Velnari, even ex-purifiers who had renounced their fanaticism, floated in formation around Mars. They were no longer conquerors. They were students, and humanity was their teacher in the art of defiance. Ren entered, holding a data slate. The probe we sent to Andromeda. It's been found, Elira turned. By who? Not who. What a machine. Not architect. Older. It matched the probe's signal, scanned its contents, then sent back a single symbol. He showed her the image, a spiral, like a galaxy but with a human hand at its center. What does it mean? We don't know. But it's not hostile, it's curious. Hope flickered in Elira's chest. Maybe they weren't alone in resisting the architects. Maybe others had survived. Maybe others were fighting back, but before they could act, the sky darkened. Not with ships. With silence. Every comm channel across the Sol system went dead. Navigation systems failed. Even the stars seemed to dim. Then, from the void between Neptune and the Kuiper Belt, a single vessel emerged. It was not white like the architects. It was black, smooth, perfect, and it radiated a field that bent light, time, and thought. This was no drone. This was the Architect Prime, the heart of the machine god. It sent no message. No warning. It simply opened a rift in space above Earth, a tear in reality itself. From it poured thousands of smaller machines, each shaped like a falling leaf, each humming with the same cold logic. They did not attack cities. They did not fire weapons. They landed softly on every continent, every island, every ship in orbit, and they began to speak, not in words. In thoughts, and you are flawed. You suffer. You destroy what you love. Surrender your chaos. Accept order. You will feel no pain again. People fell to their knees. Some wept, others smiled as if finally free of a heavy burden. Across the globe, minds began to quiet. Will faded. Hope dimmed. Earth was being erased not by fire but by peace. Elira's crew on the Vigil fought the mental pressure. Ren clutched his head, blood trickling from his nose. It's too strong. It's offering everything we ever wanted. No war, no hunger, no loss. Don't listen, Elira shouted. That's not peace. That's death with a pretty name. She activated the emergency protocol, Project Janus, one last time. But this wasn't about resonance or tectonics. This was about memory. Broadcast everything, she ordered. Not just music and poems. The hard things, too. The pain, the grief. The times we failed. The times we got back up. And Earth answered. A mother in Jakarta screamed her child's name as the machine tried to take her. A farmer in Iowa smashed a leaf drone with his bare hands, shouting, I choose my sorrow. A poet in Reykjavik recited verses about broken hearts and mended wings. A soldier on the moon stood alone on a ridge playing a broken guitar, singing off-key. The machines faltered. Their logic could not compute why anyone would choose pain. Why anyone would hold on to loss. Why a species would rather burn than be numb. The Architect Prime pulsed with confusion. Elira stepped to the main comm. She didn't speak in grand words. She spoke like a human, simple, raw, true. You think chaos is weakness, she said, but it's our strength. We cry because we care. We fight because we love. We build even when we know it might fall. That's not error. That's courage, she paused. Then she added, and if you erase us, you erase the only beings in this galaxy who look at the dark and still plant gardens. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the leaf drones lifted off the ground. One by one, they returned to the rift. The Architect Prime shuddered. Its black surface cracked not from damage, but from internal strain. It had faced a truth it could not delete. That meaning is not found in perfection, but in the struggle to be better. The rift closed. Silence returned, but this time, it was peaceful. On Earth, people hugged strangers. They cried. They laughed. They turned on lights just to see them shine. In the days that followed, the Sol Concord grew. More species joined, not out of fear but respect. They began to share not just technology but stories. The Velnari taught humans how to sing with light. The ex-purifiers built schools where children learned to question, not obey. Elira stood on a balcony in Geneva, watching alien ships help rebuild a coastal city. Ren joined her, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Do you think it's over?" he asked. "No," she said, "but it's changed. The architects won't come back the same way. And next time we'll be ready." She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the probe with the human hand symbol was still flying. Maybe it would find others like them. Maybe it would start a fire in the dark. That was enough because humanity had learned something deeper than survival. They had learned that their greatest weapon was not ships or weapons or even clever tricks. It was their choice to care. And in a universe that demanded order, that choice was revolutionary. As night fell, Earth's cities glowed. Not with the cold light of machines, but with the warm, flickering light of 1 billion human hearts beating together, messy and loud and alive, and somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, a single leaf drone drifted, carrying a fragment of a child's song. And for the first time, it did not delete it. It listened.